Hi, welcome to Gigat's Country Kitchen. Today we're going to be making some bread. And with this recipe, you have several options in how you can shape that bread. It is a quick bread and it will have oatmeal in it. It's a oatmeal yeast bread. It's really good. I have used this to make loaf bread. I've used it to make rolls, and I've used it to make burger and hot dog buns. And today we're just going to make some hamburger buns out of it. And I'm going to show you this quick and easy, simple recipe. There's only 6 main ingredients besides your water, and that I will be using a King Arthur bread flour, oats, these are whole rolled oats, honey, yeast, salt, and butter. And that's all that will be in there besides some hot water. So let's get started. The first thing that we want to do is we're going to take, I've heated the water up a bit. We need 1 1/4 cups of hot water. Let's see, that's 1 cup. That's about right. Let me make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4. I was looking at it wrong. A little bit more. Okay. 1 1/4 cups of hot water, and we're just going to place that in our bowl. And we really want this to be around 130 degrees, or no more than 130 degrees. We're going to try to cool it down just a little bit because I did get that a little hotter than I wanted to. We're going to put 2 tablespoons of butter in here. And that butter will help also get it all cooled down a little bit too. Okay. And I like this butter because it just gives a really nice flavor to things. It's a great butter. You can use Earth Balance. You can use, whatever you choose. This one is a vegan butter that, I really do like. And while you have the butter on your spoon, we're going to go ahead and we're going to get our honey. You're going to have 3 tablespoons of honey. We're going to put into this water as well. There's 1. Let that run out a little bit. That honey, the butter left in there will help it come on out. 2. And 1 more. 3. Okay. Now what this does is honey in bread actually feeds the yeast. So we want, that you've got to have some type of sweetener, whether it's a sugar, a honey, or what have you. You've got to have that in your bread recipes to be able to feed your yeast. And we want to be able to get that yeast fed. Okay, we're going to let this set just a minute while we get our other ready, and then we'll check the temperature. I'm just going to let that sit in there and let all that come on out of the spoon. Okay, so while that is setting and the butter is melting, we're going to move over to our mixer. Okay, we're going to just take the bowl off the mixer here, and we're going to start putting our dry ingredients in it. Now you're going to take, first of all, and we're going to get 2 cups of flour just loosely in here. Altogether, this recipe will have around 3 cups in it. But you don't want to put all of it in to begin with, because part of it is what you need to be able to work your dough with. So, all right. So 2 cups of flour. We're going to have 1 cup of whole rolled oats. And you do not have to use this brand. You can use Quaker Oats, whatever your favorite is. I just love this one because it has a nice sort of nutty flavor to it. Okay, so we're going to put that in together. All right. We're going to add 1 1/2 teaspoons of salt. I use a Himalayan sea salt. You use the salt of your choice. All right. Okay. And then we're going to go ahead and blend this just a little bit to blend them together before we put our yeast in, because we do not want the salt and the yeast to sit on top of one another. It can affect the growth of your yeast, and if it sits too long, it can kill it. Okay, just a little bit is all you have to do. Now I'm going to put a tablespoon of yeast. We're going to blend that together. Okay. Now you can take this mixture right here and put it in a jar and have it on hand so that you can just throw this right into your mixer. Everything's done measured out. And you can go ahead and just, all you have to do is get your hot water, your butter, and your honey like we did a while ago. Okay, we're going to take this out and we're going to put our dough hook. This is a dough hook that goes on your mixer. If you've got one of these style mixers, or really, a lot of them comes with it, little stand mixers do. But put your dough hook in, and what it's going to do is it kneads the bread. It brings it around and around, sort of like your hand motions whenever you're kneading bread. Whoop. Let me make sure that bow's locked in there. We don't want it to go places. There we go. I'm sort of doing this backwards. All right. So this is what it looks like whenever you have the hook on there. All right. So right now, I'm going to go ahead and put my shield on. I've been making a little bread, so you may see a little flour. It's okay. And I'm going to take and I'm going to test my water now. So when you're making bread, just to make sure your temperature is proper for your yeast to do the best that it can do, you want to just be able to take your pinky and just put it right there in it. And if it's warm enough but not too hot, that you can hold it in there for 5 seconds, then you know it's good. If it was like, ouch, I got to pull my finger out, then it's too hot, let it cool a little bit. If it feels cold, you know it needed warmed a little more. But that's just a quick, easy way. I'm going to cut my mixer on low, and we're going to slowly start adding in this liquid mixture to our breads, our dry mixture. Okay. We're going to let that just start working together. Get all that good stuff in there. This is where a lot of your flavor comes from in your bread. And this recipe is not only quick, but it's low cost as well. You can make a whole lot of bread at a very low cost making bread like this. Okay? Now we're going to let that just sit there and work a second. And then we're going to start adding some more flour to this. Now, it may take a whole cup. It may take a half a cup. A lot of times the weather really affects what your dough does. Believe it or not, it really does. Okay. So we don't want to add flour in this if the mixer's going too hot, because it'll just poof out and flour will go everywhere. So we're going to cut our mixer down just a little bit until it's just a nice stirring motion. And you're going to slowly start adding the flour into the bowl there and let it work in a little bit. Put it up one after it starts working it and work that little bit in. And what eventually it's going to do is the dough is going to pull away from the bowl, and it's going to start sort of flapping. It's going to have an end to it that just starts flapping around. Okay. And usually What it's going to take is about 3 minutes of knead time. Okay, we want 3 minutes of knead time. Now, you see the bowl? Let me show you real quick before we go any further. You see that this bowl, you see how it's cleaned up around it? That stickiness of the dough has pulled all the flour. Now this is what we want to start seeing, but we want it to be able to get enough flour worked in it that it's literally slinging that dough around like if you were kneading it. So we're going to keep an eye on it and let me show you. I'm cutting it up a little bit because I want to sling it off that hook. And I'm going to just add a tiny bit at a time. Okay? And it's going to sling a little flour out. You can't help that. But just a little bit at a time. And you see how that arm is coming off the dough now? And it's spinning around there sort of like watching a hurricane on the weather map. That's what you want. Okay? Just a little more. We're at about probably 2 and almost 3/4 cup of flour into this batch here. Okay. And see, if I was kneading this by hand, I would be working this flour in until my dough was no longer sticky. So that's what we're basically doing here. Now I usually let this knead for 3 minutes. Once I get everything in it, and I let it go for 3 minutes here. I don't have my timer in here, but we can sort of gauge it. And you don't want to get your dough too tough, so don't over cut flour. We just want to get enough. That's looking about like I like it. You see how that arm is slinging around off of that dough hook? That's what we want. All right, we're gonna test it. Let's see if it's what we need. Okay, is it sticky? No. It's a little bit sticky, not too bad. It could probably use just a little bit more. When you push it, see how when I pushed in, it stuck to my finger? We don't want it sticky. We want it to pull nicely away from here. So I'm going to put just a little more in there. Well, let me get it locked. Okay. There we go. Now we're slinging it pretty good. And let that flour work in there. So, I'll make you a little dust storm. Now, see how it's coming off of the hook? There we go. That's what you want. Okay? Give that dough a good old workout right there. Alright, now let's see what we got. See how it's already just trying to fall off the hook? That's what we want it to do. We want it to just come right off of that hook. Okay, now let's move our bowl off of here. Let me clean this up for just a minute and I'll be right back. Okay, I got things cleaned up a little bit. I went ahead and this right here is what I make they're the muffin top pans. Now my pans are very well used because I bake a lot of breads. But you can find these like at Walmart. You can get them on Amazon. But they make really good burger bun pans. Okay, so I just went ahead and I buttered it. And I have that ready. Going to set it aside here. So we've got our dough now. It's all ready to come out of the bowl. And what I'm going to do is just put a little flour on my little board here. Don't want much because we don't want to keep working flour into this dough because it'll make it a little bit tough. Now, if you were going to make a loaf bread, all you got to do with this bread is just bring it around make you a nice ball and just sort of squeeze it. Keep a little flour on your hand, make sure it's not sticky, and just squeeze it and shape it, and you would put it into a pan. Okay, I have one here. I can show you that I have rising already, and that's a loaf of bread that we're doing with the very same recipe. So we've got this rising, and it'll be going in the oven pretty soon. Let me get that covered back up. You got to keep it nice and warm, and you want to keep it covered. But with this, I want to be able to make burger buns with it. So we're going to break this into, and we're going to make us some buns. I want some pretty, good sized buns, so that maybe if I just want to cut one open and make a cheese toast out of it, or if I want to use it for one of the burgers that we're fixing to do a video on, we can do that as well. We're going to do some homemade, gluten-free, vegan burgers that are just great. All right, now these are going to rise up pretty big. You don't have to make them this big. You can make yours smaller. You can get 8 out of yours. You can even do little bitty ones and get 10. It's all about what you want to do with them. You can even make little rolls out of them and have dinner rolls. All of that works. So you see we have the section here about how big around we want our dough to be. And we're just going to flatten that out a little bit. Don't worry if it sinks in. That's okay, because it's gonna come out, and it's gonna rise up, and it's gonna fill this whole area, and it's gonna make a good sized bun. Okay, so it takes just a minute, and I'll have all these rolled out. Just that easy. You don't have to do a lot with this dough. This is a quick yeast dough. We're not having to wait an hour for it to rise and then punch it down and let it rise again. This bread has a one rise. So you go ahead and shape it and go ahead and put it over into your pan. Now, one of the differences is that you will find with a bread that you do not do the double rise is this one is a little more firmer bread, but it's still a great bread. It is the flavor is a little bit different as well. You're just not having that set time ahead of time, but it's still a really great bread. I think you'll love. So we're just gonna put that right there, and then here we are. Well, this is the other half of that batch. If you want to do something different, you just want 3, and you want to do some rolls, you can do that too. So, just get creative with it. I'm going to divide it into 3 parts here, so I can go ahead and make 3 more buns. Just try to get them around about even. It's bread making. You're not going to have to worry too much about it. But what you do need to do is once we get all these buns rolled out here, we're going to put butter on top of them, and then we're going to let them rise. And, you want them to at least double. It'll double to triple in size. But this is just a really quick way that you can get some healthy burger buns that doesn't have preservatives and all that in them. And I'll tell you a little trick about it also. If you want your homemade bread to last as long as like store-bought bread does without the preservatives, keep it in the refrigerator after you make it while it's good and fresh. Keep it in the refrigerator and just get out what you need. It will double your time on that bread compared to you just leaving it out on the counter. Okay? Now, we're going to just take and just cover these really good. And the reason you put the butter on top of them like this, just like you do when you're rising dough, period, if you were doing a double rise, you want that oil on top because if it dries out, it hinders the whole process of the rising. So you want it to stay moist so that it can rise really, really good. Now, I love making bread. That's one of my favorite things to do in cooking. When I was young, we made all of our breads. You had your yeast breads, you had your cornbread, your biscuits, your quick breads. You just made all of it. Your muffins, and there's just something about the smell of homemade bread in your home that just makes it feel so warm and inviting. But that's all we have to do. We're going to cover these, we're going to let them rise, and when they rise, I'll come back and I will show you what's next. Okay, our burger buns have risen, and so has our loaf of bread. We're going to place these in the oven and let them cook, and they're going to rise even more in the oven. So I will give you all the details on the bacon in the description as well. And I always include the recipe in description. And so I will get right back with you and show you the finished product when we get them out of the oven. Okay, the burger buns are done. You see they're nice and pretty on the bottom. Now what we're going to do, we're going to take these off of our pan and put them onto a cooling rack because we don't want them to get soft on the bottom. See how beautiful those make? That little muffin pan just makes them perfect. Now these are really big, but what I do sometimes with my husband and I, we just cut one open and make a cheese toast out of it, and it is so good. These actually toast up really great. So we're going to put that here. This is hot out of the oven. This is the same bread, very same recipe, but we made a loaf of bread out of it. And I have already buttered the top of our buns. We're going to put a little butter on this bread. And there too, you don't want to leave it setting too long in your pans because it will get moist down in there from setting flat. Now you can elevate one side of your pan, let some of the heat out from under it or what have you, or get some cooling racks, whatever you like to use is fine. So what I'm going to do is just go ahead and we're going to get this bread right on out of the pan. Nice hot. Smells so good. I wish you could smell it. It's a beautiful loaf of bread. And we're going to let that cool a minute. After it cools, I'll show you what it looks like when we cut it. Hey, we're having to do a little bit of a voiceover here. The microphone had some problems, but here we go. I want to show you these beautiful buns. Just look how they've risen. See how soft they are. I went ahead and got them all cut and ready to use. And then we have a loaf of bread here out of that same recipe. And look how nice and beautiful that is. Put some butter on that, toast it up, put some cheese on it, make a great sandwich however you want to use it. I'm showing you this bread knife that my brother-in-law had made me. It is so great. It cuts so good. And it just, you can see how this bread is cutting. It really just slices right through there, slices really good. When you take it out of your pan, just let it cool a few minutes before you slice it. And boy, did I make that a crooked slice. But that's okay. We'll give that to my husband. He likes them big fat ones. So anyway, I just want to share with you also about when you're making bread and you're thinking about all the ingredients, how it goes together. And just think about how when we added that yeast to all the other ingredients, it really brought all of this to life and just made that bread rise. And when I'm making bread, I'm thinking about how Jesus did that for me as well in my life. How he really just brought me to life through the Holy Spirit. And it's like the yeast in the bread. And just keep that in mind. While you're making bread, just think of all these wonderful things that we have been given and all the opportunities that opened up for us through Jesus and through the Holy Spirit living in us. And I just want to thank you all for watching our videos, being a part of our channel. You mean so much to us. We really, really appreciate it. And I hope you'll just jump on over and watch the other video that we are making right now. I'm going to be using these buns and some gluten-free burgers. And if you would, please like, subscribe, and just join us in this journey together. And we really appreciate you. Have a very blessed day.